So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you.
Right, Thor. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really. It was a really.
Enthusiastic.
It was a really good film. I don't have too many negatives on it. Is a tonally, it's like there's a point. I try. Obviously, this is gonna be
non-spoiler review.
So there's like a scene which is kind of dark, and then you go straight to humor straight after. I feel like it does that quite a few times, where it's quite dark, and then it goes to a funny scene, and it doesn't fit all the time.
Really?
Most of the time, the jokes do hit, but there are a couple of scenes in it where somewhat kind of darker happen, and the next thing we know, you got Thor and the Hulk. Without spoiler, just funny interactions and stuff. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but I actually don't think that was an issue in this one. I actually think that was an issue in Guardians 2. Because I think Guardians
definitely.
2, which I liked Guardians 2. A lot of people shout on it quite a lot.
No,
but I enjoyed
like
it,
that
and I
film.
thought it was a decent sequel. Wasn't as good as the first one, but it was in Guardians. It was what you were saying, I think, where it's joke. It'd be a really supposedly emotional, serious moment, and then all of a sudden it would undercut it with a joke.
Yeah.
With like a joke that didn't fit the tone either. Whereas I thought in this film they kind of established the tone at the beginning of the film, and I don't know, it was consistent. I thought that the joke there wasn't even a lot of like drama in this film, not really.
No, there was like. Yeah,
which I didn't mind.
Like I said, there wasn't a lot. There was just one or two scenes which felt quite serious, and the next thing, you go onto this quite funny scene, and it felt like it was.
Yeah, so it was a little bit jarring for you sometimes.
Yeah,
when it
is a really good film.
Yeah,
I would say it's probably one of the best MCU films.
I think this is somebody's like crawling on the roof. What the fuck is it? Anyway, I thought it was one of my favourite Marvel films.
Yeah,
like it is. I think it might actually be my favourite, because Guardians was my favourite for a while, and I always liked the original Iron Man.
Yeah, I was about to say the Iron Man's probably.
But that being said, though, like, have you watched Iron Man recently?
It wasn't too recently. I watched it more than I've probably watched some of the other.
Have you watched Iron Man this year?
No, last year.
It was last. All right, so
but yeah, well, because it was recently, yes, because I watched those ones recently, even though the other two aren't really that good. I like the third one.
Yeah.
The second one's not very good.
A lot of people say that the third one's their least favourite, but anyway.
It's because of the Mandarin thing.
Yeah, but I watched Iron Man quite recently, like probably about 3 months ago now.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up quite as well as I thought it would.
Okay.
Especially towards the end, it kind of falls apart. He's fighting like a big robot man. Spoilers for Iron Man. It's like over 10 years old. I don't know how long it's been. But
there's been a million
I forgot what my
MCU
point
films
was.
since
Now, how did
then.
we get onto Iron Man? Anyway, yeah, I thought that this film was consistent in its tone. Though the jokes didn't bother me. I actually find every joke in this film hilarious.
Yeah,
really.
Most of the time they do hit. I just think it's once or twice.
I think I get what you mean. Like, you were probably expecting it to be a little bit more serious than it was, because I did feel, I kind of never felt like there were high stakes. Not really, because of the joking.
Yeah, well, obviously there's obviously a scene I can't mention because it is spoilers. Yeah. So, and that was we're gonna talk non-spoilers in the next podcast that goes up. Not spoilers in the next podcast that goes up. So I'll speak on that scene that I was on about. But yeah, it just felt something would happen that should be serious, and the next thing is onto a joke.
Do you think that would affect your overall kind of...
No, overall I really liked it. I came out of that film, I loved that film when I watched it.
Yeah.
I still do.
That's one of the few Marvel films that I will consider buying, and I like the Marvel films a lot, but generally I don't buy them. I only buy them if I really like something. Like, I bought The Incredible Hulk, which I really liked, the one, the 2008 one, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I bought the Iron Man films, although I didn't really like the second one. And I bought like Guardians of the Galaxy, but
I mean,
I don't buy the others. I bought Civil War as well.
If you really like the other two Thor films,
yeah.
this is a completely different kind of film.
That's the thing as well. I haven't seen the other two Thor films.
Completely different in tone, and even Thor himself. I think Thor, he's a bit more like
he's jokey and stuff now. Yeah,
which,
he almost feels like some kind of like celebrity, like kind of a bit of a douche. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
because
even I mean, this isn't really a spoiler. Like they're on Earth, aren't they? And then some girl comes up to him and wants like a photo for like, her Instagram or something.
Yeah.
And he like, takes a photo with her as if he's like some celebrity, which I suppose he would be in this universe. Yeah. But he's kind of, it almost feels like that's effect has gone to his head a bit. He's a god to these like.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny anyway.
He's like the same kind of character he is in those. Remember those mini things?
Yeah, I watched one of those the other day.
Yeah.
And right, I have a theory on this. I think that originally, I reckon they've had reshoots for this film, and I don't know if there's been any reports of them reshooting anything. But I reckon when those kind of shorts came out, and people responded to them, I reckon that resulted in the humor. And they can, because everybody realised that Chris Hemsworth is really funny when he as Thor, he can be hilarious. So they probably tried to capitalise on that. And where is his rock friend from? Like, what's the accent?
Australian.
Is it Australian or is it New Zealand? Is it Australia in those shorts as well?
Yeah, I think it.
In the shorts that came out.
He's in Australia in those shorts.
Yeah,
but
so
I don't know.
So I wonder whether that kind of ended up being
maybe
kind of resulting in a character like some Australian accent
I didn't even think
character.
about that.
So I thought,
and
he was hilarious.
He was funny. Yeah, I wonder. I watched whose review was it? I watched a review anyway of Thor. I tend to do that after I watch films just to see.
Yeah, just to compare your own opinions and stuff.
And
sometimes it's to reaffirm your own opinion.
And it was said that they felt like the things were those shorts were like a parody of Thor, but played by Chris Hemsworth. But then actually they're not, because that's the characters they ended up using in the film, and he didn't like that.
Who didn't like that? Oh, the reviewer.
Yeah. Which I didn't like.
He didn't like. He thought that it felt more like a parody of Thor than it did.
I can't remember who the reviewer was now. But yeah, and that was the opinion, which I can kind of see. But the humor wasn't the issue with the film. I just felt it was in a couple of scenes. Yeah. I liked Chris.
So you could have done with a few more like serious scenes, no jokes.
Chris Hemsworth. I liked the way he portrayed Thor in the film.
Yeah,
I liked the jokes. Most of them did hit.
For me, all of them did, but I completely understand somebody who went in thinking, who was like a big fan of the last two, and then they'll go into this and they're like, well, what the fuck is this? You know?
But in fairness, if you watch the trailers, then you kind of know what you're going into anyway, because the trailers give you that tone.
Yeah.
So
I can't really remember the trailers for this film, because I wasn't actually looking forward to this film that much.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen the first two. And then you asked me, alright, should we go and see Thor? And I was like, alright, yeah, because there's something to watch.
Yeah.
And then I got there and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I didn't know whether that affected my opinion of the film, because I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did.
Maybe
because I went in with like not even low expectations, but I went in with no expectations, because I just didn't care that much about the character of Thor, because he's never been my favourite Avenger or anything.
No, he's kind of a bit of an oddball, isn't he?
Yeah, and then we went in and I was like, whoa, that was like hilarious. Like there were some jokes in this film which I won't spoil, but they're just. I remember I was sat next to you and you started like pissing yourself at one bit when I talk about. All I can say is snake.
That was the best joke. Like, that's in my opinion. That's my best.
And
that's my
you know what makes that joke is Chris Hemsworth's like description of what happened, and it's so funny. So he was brilliant in the film, and I liked seeing. I don't know if this is a spoiler. I don't know if he's in the trailers. I'm assuming he is, but Loki.
Yeah, he is in the trailer, isn't he?
Yeah,
because in that there's the scene in the arena.
Oh yeah,
and they're both sat up there, and he's like, "Oh, we know each other from work."
That was
Luke
funny.
is in the
even though I knew that joke was coming, that was funny. But yeah, Loki, I liked seeing him back. He was, Tom Hiddleston's always good.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? But yeah, like, because you obviously haven't watched the other two.
No.
But you can watch this film and not watch those.
I was not lost. Really.
There was one or two references maybe, and they weren't big references.
But they didn't impact the story.
There was not really. No, there's only one scene that maybe you could have known, but then you obviously find out quite quickly what happened, so it doesn't really.
I loved
matter.
Hulk, the way that they used Hulk in this film was really good as well.
I wasn't sure what I was expecting from Hulk, because the way I was, I don't know if it was the way they described it beforehand, kind of like a buddy cop film, they said, didn't they?
Yeah.
I didn't feel it was like that too much, so I didn't feel like the Hulk was in it.
It was almost, I mean, it was very much Chris Hemsworth's story, but there were other characters, like, it wasn't just Hulk that was the main supporting role. Like, there was, Hulk, I don't know her name, the girl, not Kate Blanchett, obviously. She was brilliant.
Yeah, she was good.
She's always good though. And
the girl that's I can't, like, the only way I can describe her. The only other way I could have described her is probably a spoiler, a mini spoiler.
What's that?
Oh, it's a mini spoiler, so I can't really say that. But she's in the trailer. She brings him in on the trailer, doesn't she? And says he's a contender.
From that, like, trash. But
I don't know her name though. We should have googled this.
What's it? Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he was good in it.
He was just Jeff Goldblum, but he was hilarious.
He was funny in it, and his character, it wasn't like,
I loved him. He wasn't a main character.
He wasn't like a villain, and he wasn't. He kind of was, but he wasn't. He was there, and he was funny. There was no like.
I thought he was really funny.
Yeah.
But I like Jeff Goldblum, and I like
when
his,
when I seen those images of him, I was like, before the film came out, I was like, I don't know what I felt like that, but actually on that planet,
once you get into
he fits into that world.
Yeah, because I was not entirely sure what the tone of this film was going to be, because I hadn't really watched the trailers properly.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then when I actually got into the film, I was like, so is basically like an 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
Sort of almost psychedelic, like, madness. It was mental.
I do think they kind of took it, like, I think that maybe Guardians may have had an effect on this film a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you can see the kind of choices, similarities and stuff to Guardians.
This was,
and I think that's because Guardians of the box, the box office was obviously really good for Guardians. I'm not sure what the box office like were the two Ford films, but they're obviously not as well received.
Yeah, I'd imagine not.
So they were probably looking into changing 4 up anyway to try and get, because for the character that obviously people probably want to see back, is just finding a way to make it so they can make more money from it, and they obviously did a good job.
I think
I just wonder how he's going to fit into Avengers, because I don't know how Avengers Infinity War is going to fit, because it feels like because I don't feel like it's going to be a funny film, but I can't feel like it can be over the top funny, because it feels like there's going to be quite high stakes in this film.
Who's writing the new one? Well, I know there's probably
the Russo brothers are directing them, and
they write them as well, don't they?
I think
they're massive probably writers and executives and shit, but
I think there's going to be loads of people involved, because obviously you got like James Gunn with Guardians. The Russo brothers obviously did Captain America, last 2 films, and obviously with all these characters coming together, you kind of need a bit of, because James Gunn obviously stuck with the Guardians, so I feel like he needs to be involved just to get the right kind of character across. I mean, and same with the other guys who directed the other films.
Yeah. Obviously, obviously not going to actually talk about it now, but do you know what the post-credit scene was about? Because there is a post-credit scene, by the way. There's two, but I don't know. There's one that you want to stick around for, because I think it references something big.
It does, but I'm not too sure what.
Then the last one, you don't have to stick around for. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a joke. So
I think you should.
Well, if you want to, you can. Yeah, but it's a joke though. Like it's just a jokey one.
Yeah, you don't need to stay back for the second one.
It's the equivalent of Howard the Duck in Guardians.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the Guardians, but you've seen that. So
it's not Howard the Duck.
No, it's not actually Howard the Duck though. So all the Howard the Duck fans are going to go now. There was no Howard the Duck. Waited all the way through the credits. But yeah, overall, I think this film, it's definitely it's in my top 5 now, I think, Marvel films.
It was a really good Marvel film.
Yeah. And I think we should score it now, probably.
Yeah. What would you?
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
9?
Because I purely enjoyed it. Like, I had a good time. I'm not saying it's like the best film I've ever seen or anything, but I just enjoyed it a lot. So I can't really mark it down for that.
Yeah. I give it 8.5.
Yeah, that's a good score. I mean, that's higher than I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to go like 7.9.
No, because I did really enjoy it. I laughed all the way through the film. There was just that one issue, and I didn't think it was, because there's only a couple of scenes. It's not a big enough issue to me to go, mark it down too much.
You just thought there were a little bit too many jokes.
Yeah.
Undercutting the seriousness.
I mean, I can see why some people who like the other Thor films might not like it, because the character of Thor is kind of the same, but because he's a lot more jokey, is kind of a different take on it.
I think I think it could. There are a lot of jokes, but for me, that it didn't bother me. And the one negative I might have had is that there didn't really feel that there was much stakes. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think when you got a film with that much humour, it's probably hard to give it a high stake.
I mean, maybe they had too much humour and that ended up.
Yeah.
That was a negative, maybe, I don't know, but I enjoyed it a lot still anyway. So
yeah, it was a really good film.
Yeah, so that was our review, and if you want to hear a spoiler talk on this,
it's going to be in the podcast that will be soon. This will be up first.
Yeah,
and the podcast shouldn't be far behind.
So we'll put timestamps in the podcast anyway. If you want to know.
So if you want to listen to the rest of the podcast and skip the spoilers, we'll put the time in there so you can just skip it. Yeah. And if you have seen Thor, comment below and let us know what you thought of it, but don't write any spoilers.
No, don't write spoilers, and be nice because we're not very secure. But
be nice to each other.
Hopefully we're getting more reviews out soon as well. Hopefully we'll see more films.
I mean, there's a few films coming out. Justice League is next, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
No, not really, but I feel like we should see it.
Yeah, I will see it.
And then maybe just abuse it.
Well,
you never know, we may love it.
Yeah. Alright, so see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye for now.
We're the same, you and I. Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same. Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Well, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.